All right, so I made one of these videos like a year and a half ago. It actually hasn't come out yet as of the recording of this video, but it was like a hey, me in 2 years video. The date is Saturday, June 4th, 2022. A few things I want to say to future Frank, and there are also a few things that I just want to say on camera and kind of have documented because I have some cool ideas that I want to be able to look back on in a couple years and be like, oh yeah, that's where the idea started, and now here's where it went or didn't go. I'm at kind of an interesting point right now where I'm really trying to narrow down the types of content that I'm making, especially here on YouTube. So the first thing is I've kind of decided I don't necessarily want to make video game music covers, but I want to play video game music live, like really bad. I have a whole bunch of arrangements done for like a quintet setting, and what I really want to do is just play a bunch of that stuff live and film it and put that up on YouTube. I just got done talking with John Shannon, who owns a live music venue here in town, and he was really open to the idea of playing live video game music there, so I'm super excited about that. I started putting the group together. I'm just really excited to play live video game music. I haven't really been having as much fun recording and filming and editing and creating like a cover just for the purpose of having a video. And the few times I played video game music live, I've enjoyed it immensely. So I really want to pursue that and kind of do that first and then make content from that, just filming it. I also think there's like a giant demand for live video game music, and there aren't that many people doing it. I mean, there are definitely a handful of bands, but I would love to be on the forefront of playing live video game music, building a group. And I also think it would be really cool to be a part of a person's like core childhood memory of them being at this club in Pittsburgh and hearing one of their favorite video game music tunes played live. And I think the demand for that's only going to go up over time. So that's something I really want to pursue, and I'm hoping that me in 3 years has kind of fulfilled that and definitely has the ball rolling more than I do right now. The other type of content I really want to make more of is the Omegle videos. Filming these can be kind of brutal. You have to deal with plenty of negative interactions to get to the few positive ones, but the fun interactions are really great, and I also enjoy editing these videos. When I'm adding keyframes and funny effects, I get to kind of slow the video down and go frame by frame and see the second that someone realizes what's going on and they start to smile. It's a good feeling knowing that I've just relieved them of whatever suffering they've been experiencing, and even if it's only for a moment, you get to see that, and that's awesome to me. It's also really good practice for my ears, and it's just musically challenging to try to take a song that I've never heard before, learn the chords on guitar really quickly, lay down a loop, and then pick up my saxophone, transpose, try to remember the melody and all of that stuff. It's musically challenging, and I really enjoy doing it. It's also content that I haven't made a ton of, and it feels kind of fresh to me. I also think it would be really fun to collaborate with other big Omegle YouTubers. There are a lot of people that are doing really cool collaborations, and I also think I'm kind of in a unique position as a saxophone player because I don't really see any other saxophonists making Omegle content. And there are plenty of piano and guitar players, so I think it'd be interesting to add a strong melody instrument into that, especially doing collaborations and stuff. So hopefully me in 3 years has either figured out that I really like making Omegle content and I have some videos that are doing really well, and I've kind of learned how to loop everything and do it really smoothly in a way that is enjoyable for people to watch and also musically interesting. Either that, or maybe I've decided that I hate it and I've just abandoned it completely. But right now I kind of feel like I need to just pick one or two things and kind of hunker down on those and go really hard at them for a few months and just kind of see where it goes. So the other type of content that I really want to make is gig vlogs. And I make these as short form content right now over on TikTok and Instagram, but I also really want to make longer form videos similar to like what Bob Reynolds or Adam Neely does and kind of show more of the behind the scenes and kind of my thought process behind doing things and preparing for gigs and stuff like that. I really enjoy making these, and I like kind of having a final product that tells a story. I also really like being able to document the gigs that I'm playing and just this season of my life. I think it would be really cool to have a giant log of videos that I can just kind of look back on and be like, oh yeah, that gig sucked, or oh, this gig was fun, and just kind of remember it and get to see it in high definition. And yeah, just other things about playing gigs, not just the music aspect, but like how to interact with other musicians, good gig etiquette, the financial side of things and how to manage your money, some things that aren't so fun on gigs, the importance of learning how to hang. These are all things that are really important, and I'd love to go more in depth, and it's great to be able to chop down 90 minutes of footage into, a 90-second TikTok, but it forces you to leave out a lot of stuff that I think could be really beneficial to younger musicians and also just beneficial for me to kind of have to think through and put into words. I also know that right now it's crucial to my development as a musician to be playing these gigs. I have so much to learn that can only be taught by playing gigs, and I think it's absolutely necessary at this stage in my career to be playing as much as I can and to kind of develop those working musician chops. Now, I'm super grateful that I'm starting to get called for stuff on a consistent basis and that, all my weekends are filling up. But with that being said, I don't want to end up working 5, 6, 7 nights a week. For a lot of people, that's their dream, and there was definitely a time in my life where I thought that was my dream too. But one of the reasons why I started making content was so that later down the road, I would have the option to play the gigs that I want to play and not have to play gigs that I don't want to play. I don't want to be so busy playing gigs that I have no time to make videos and edit gig vlogs and work on video game music arrangements or make TikToks or just work on other video ideas that I have. I want to have that freedom to be able to strike whenever creative ideas arise. Jeez, I can't speak. That's definitely something I'm already starting to struggle with balancing now. So I know it'll be something that I'm struggling with in 3 years. And I hope that 3 years from now, Frank has figured out a way to balance it a little better. And also on the topic of balancing things, I hope that I figured out how to balance relationships a little better. This isn't something I talk about a lot in general, but I've always been bad at balancing work with personal life. I have a lot of career-oriented goals that I want to achieve, but oftentimes those have come at the expense of my personal relationships. So hopefully I'm better at balancing all of that stuff, and I've found a way to kind of dial it back a little bit on the career side of things because relationships are so important and more important than career. I've definitely been realizing that over the last couple months, especially. So hopefully I'm better at that in 3 years. So I've also been thinking about the type of content I want to make on TikTok, and I've never really had like a content strategy. I've kind of just posted whatever stuff comes to mind, like the Dumb Ways to Destroy a Read series and just random duets, the gig vlogs, different skits, kind of trends through the lens of a musician, all of that stuff. The nice thing about TikTok is you're not really punished for posting a variety of things and you can kind of experiment a lot. I'm kind of just posting whatever I want on TikTok right now, and I'm pretty much okay with that at this point. I think I'd like to post less trendy stuff and kind of more unique stuff like the gig vlogs, for example, especially as the app develops. I have a feeling that that type of stuff won't do nearly as well, and it'll be better to have something that's a little more niche that you can really grow an audience with. So hopefully my TikToks in 3 years are definitely higher quality and a little more niched down, I guess, if that makes sense. You always hear people say niche down and pick one thing and just do that, but that's always been hard for me because I like doing all of these different things. I guess they all kind of fit under the umbrella of saxophone or music rather, but it's definitely not super specific, and I think some of that has actually hurt my channel. So that's definitely something I'm struggling with right now and just kind of trying to sort through by picking one direction, going that way, and then needing to, if I need to change, I can change. So this is another huge thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and that is learning how to play the saxophone. There are many flaws in my playing that I'm aware of, and I really just want to work out. I understand that that's like a lifelong journey of, trying to improve at your craft, but I also feel like I haven't achieved a comfortable level of being able to play, whatever that even means. And maybe I need to kind of define that. But having left college early on, I definitely felt like I've missed out on those 4 years where you can just do nothing but shed. For the last few months, I've already been adding like an extra 30 to 60 minutes onto my practice routine, and I feel way better about that. But I really want to continue doing that and just work on things that I feel like are going to stretch my playing. Being a saxophone player is kind of the foundation of everything that I do. So if I'm a better saxophone player, everything else just improves. Hopefully me in 3 years is a little happier with where I'm at playing wise, and hopefully I'm just practicing a lot and really improving as a saxophone player. Another thing that I'm really hoping I'm better at in 3 years is playing bluegrass and Irish music on the saxophone. This music has been the most enjoyable for me to play lately, and I just really want to go deep. It doesn't feel super commercially viable, but I get a ton of enjoyment out of learning how to play it and just listening to it, and it's fun. It's also the music that feels like it's stretching my playing the most. It's very technically challenging. Everything is in hard keys. The articulation is hard. I enjoy playing it, and that's first and foremost, but I think it's absolutely crucial in my development of kind of finding my own sound. I'd like to keep learning bluegrass tunes and hopefully start getting out to jam sessions, maybe try to get into a group at some point. I don't know, this is just how I'm feeling right now, that I really enjoy playing the music. I just want to play it and play it as much as I can and learn about it as much as I can and kind of see where it takes me. So the last thing that's really been on my mind for this video is around building a community. I'm extremely grateful that anyone even cares enough to watch my ridiculous videos. I love interacting with people. I try to get back to every comment I can, every DM, and I want to get to know the people that support me. I've been consistently doing game night once a month with people in my Discord, which is cool, but I kind of want to find a way to more consistently interact with everyone and build a stronger sense of community for everyone that watches my videos. I think live streaming could be really good for that. For the last year and a half or so, I consistently streamed on TikTok twice a week. I definitely started to feel like I was building a community there, but that platform is not ideal for streaming, at least at this point in time, it's not. And I've thought about trying to stream on Twitch or here on YouTube maybe. That's definitely something that's on my mind, but I don't enjoy streaming that much. Not nearly as much as everything else on this list. With that being said, I still think it's a really good tool, and it's something I should do because it kind of gives a way for me to directly interact with people almost face to face, if that makes sense. I'm probably going to try to poll the community on different platforms and see what people want to see and go from there. But hopefully me in 3 years has that figured out a little better and has a stronger sense of a community, because that's really important to me as a content creator. I don't want to just make some videos and pretend like no one exists. That's not what I'm here for. All of this stuff is stuff that I really want to do, and like I said, I definitely struggle with balancing stuff, and I'm definitely pushing myself to limit in terms of my workload. I'm hoping that 3 years from now, Frank has figured out how to kind of balance all of this a little better so that I can have time for myself when I need it, and time for my relationships and friendships and just things that I need to do as a human and not as a content creator or musician. Anyways, this video was a whole lot of rambling, but I figured that's kind of the best way for me to just document where I'm at and where my headspace is and kind of what I'm thinking about at this stage, so that in 3 years you can kind of see this and look back on it and be like, oh geez, I was an idiot. Anyways, if you made it to the end, thanks so much for watching. Sorry this was a whole lot of just disorganized vomit, I don't know. I thought this video was important to make since I'm kind of at this crossroads and I'm shifting a lot of the stuff that I'm doing. Hopefully it's at least entertaining for you and beneficial to me to be able to look back on and kind of see what I've done differently and what went the way I wanted it to. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll probably film another one of these in 4 years or something, so I'll see you guys in that one.